Okay, we're live with Clay Mann of the Man Boys of Batman and oh my gosh, Batman Heroes in Crisis, and so much Marvel work that I didn't know you did. So we're just gonna hop in. I'm gonna have my phone right here. Also,
Uh,
welcome to the Cameron Reads Comics podcast. I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. And I'm here with my new best friend, Clay Mann. It's a very one-sided friendship. um, okay. Uh, so first question, I would love to know about you breaking in to the industry, uh, and just your relationship with comic books in general, because it became very apparent to me and in DC's advertising material and conversations with you and in like me researching what you were doing, how long you have been into like how long you've been either working in this industry or working to get in this industry. Like I saw a Marvel uh, like rejection letter from 2003, and you came on my radar 15 years later. So you've
yeah.
been in the sauce for a while. How long have you been just a comic book fan?
Um, I was gonna be a smart aleck with your 20 questions in one, but I'll
You can.
go. Um, First time I ever got into comics was, so I think it was first grade. There was someone had Marvel cards in my classroom.
Oh no way! Like the Joe Jesco Marvel cards.
Eventually, specifically, they were the Marvel series that had like a white border. I think they're pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
And then now the Jessica ones were later. It was Marvel Series 2 and 1 at the same time, I think. So Series 2 had the yellow border.
Oh, okay.
You have no
Oh,
idea.
okay. I'm sure I've seen. I've stumbled across a few Marvel cards in my day.
Art Adams did a lot that are popular.
Oh my gosh, Art Adams, your buddy now.
I
How do
thought
I know? How did this even happen? Is I found Clay at the San Diego Comic Con and I cornered him a bunch of times. I saw you talking to Art Adams and you bought his new art book. How do you like that?
I didn't buy it. I got it for free.
Oh well, that's because you're in the biz.
His art dealer is my art dealer.
I was gonna ask about that actually.
Well, I'll add it to the 13 questions already asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right over there. It's right over there. I like the book a lot.
Well, good. Well, good. If anyone's wondering, this is just our dynamic. Okay, this is our dynamic the whole weekend, and now it feels like we're back in San Diego. So also,
Wait, I have lots of questions to answer.
yeah. Okay, what other ones do you want to answer? You're so you take your sweet time.
You don't stop asking questions.
Because I'm so curious.
That's how long I've liked comics. So first grade.
Yeah.
If I'm taking too long, you want me to speed through real quick how I got into comics or what? What do you want?
No. Express yourself. I'm just so happy you're here. I'm just so excited.
Yeah. You want to tell everybody how you asked for my phone number real weird?
Yeah. I don't care. There's no shame here.
No shame.
And now it's immortalized.
What is there, 3 people listening?
Yeah, there are. Shout out to my fans for watching. This is gonna live on YouTube for a while too, for for the record. So I was at I ran into Clay at the DC panel. I forget which one. It was Absolute Power on Friday because he sat behind me. And last year I bought a piece of art from him because it was middle of Batcat, post Heroes in Crisis, and I was like, wow, I really want to Clay Mann Batman because you draw the sickest Batman. So went up to your booth, got a piece of art from you. I don't know. I recognized you after that. Found out you and your brother were sitting behind me
as fans,
just at the con. And I was like, okay. And then I double checked your name tag, and I was like, okay, well, that's definitely him. So then we just started chit chatting, and I'd see him all over the floor, and then we became buds because I'd always just, you know, for the most part, I only hung out in Artist Alley. I'd roam the floor, but I'd only hang out in Artist Alley. And then every time I see him, he's talking to like Jim Chung or Art Adams or at the comic sketch art booth talking to Tom King and everyone else over there. And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I just go bug him. And then I was like, let's go get it was to the point where I was like, okay, this is all right. Let me go see if he wants to go get a beer. If I see him again, like after the second day or something, first day, I was like, I'm gonna straight up just have some beers. And then we got beers, and it was the best day of my life. But on the way, I asked you, I was like, I'm not trying to be creepy because I know it's so weird, such a weird dynamic of a fan being like, hey, like, can I just get your number and we'll just go get a beer? And I said, can we go get a beer? Or I was like, can I get your number?
You
But
actually interrupt me talking to someone and just blurbed it out. You go, can I get your number? I won't. What did you say?
I'm not going to be weird.
Yeah, you said that immediately. And my friend Peter, who was listening, goes, don't do it.
And so to this day, we've done this whole thing over Instagram DM, which is the best way to do it.
I don't even use that, so it's hard. Like, I took it off my phone. I try not to use it, so maybe you'll get my phone number. We'll see.
Maybe
Know.
one day. Well, I want to have you back on in November at least, just to talk about Batman Nightfire, which I have questions about. But let's go backwards.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Only here. What's the name of your channel?
Cameron Reads Comics.
Breaking on Cameron Reads Comics.
Yeah.
It's not coming out in November.
Oh, what? Is it sooner?
No.
I might get in
trouble. I might get in trouble for that, but whatever. I mean, people can do the math. It's not coming out in November.
Okay. Well, no worries. Well, when it is coming out, we're gonna have you back on. I'm looking forward to it.
By the way, not Wendy's.
No, you're fine. I'm drinking Liquid Death.
Here we go.
There we go. Okay, well, no matter what, I'm looking forward to it. And I do have questions for what you are allowed to share about that. But let's go backwards because you did tell me. So and I also didn't realize it's been you and your brother for this whole journey. Going back to you having what was your costume? I think he was Grifter, and what were you for Halloween one year?
So, yeah, I think it was in '92. I have a cat. Sorry. I'm not sure what I was based on my memory. If Seth was Grifter, I think I might have had a Green Goblin mask on with that makeup under it. That I'm not sure what I was, or I was, I want to pretend maybe I was a crow, but I wasn't. I'd like to say that just to lie and be cool, but I don't remember what I am in that picture. And we're referencing a picture. You guys can find it online.
Yeah, it's in the new DC Elseworlds preview.
No one got that.
What?
No one got that. It's somewhere on my Instagram, probably.
It is. But like, so was that also post Marvel cards? Was it Wildstorm? Was it the Image Revolution? What was it that, probably the first book you picked up, first title?
So the Marvel cards led into more Marvel cards, which I'm just going to fill in the gaps here. So, I didn't know what they were, but they were going around class, and I was known for drawing, and I started drawing them, looking at it and drawing it, and I'd sell them for $1 or something. And then my friend, I'm pretty sure it's first grade. I had a friend named Matt who knew about comics, and I went to the bookstore for the first time down the street, and Seth and I both bought our first comic. He bought, I believe, X-Men number 11 or 10 or 11, maybe, has Wolverine on the cover with the whole team. Do you know that cover?
Oh yeah, it's the Jim Lee Chris Claremont one.
Yes, I think it's
Yeah,
11.
I think I know exactly the one you're talking about. I think you're right.
The second half of the series later, and I bought a Marvel Winter Special, and those were our first comic books. And then that just grew really quick. And if that was X-Men 11, I mean, Jim Lee was leaving X-Men, and I was finding out who all, like Rob Liefeld was. I was into Tom McFarlane, all the guys, and we followed them straight over to Image. So we got in it like right before Image was happening.
Oh, gnarly. And so you you eventually, at some point in this story, you got a tour of the Marvel office. How did that happen?
So my brother and I liked comics so much because it was the only thing we liked, other than movies. But my parents knew we liked it, so for our birthday, they surprised us with our first plane ticket ever, and that was to New York City for my uncle to take us to the Marvel, the Marvel offices to do a tour.
That is so cool. And did your parents take you like weekly to the, I don't know if it was Wednesday back then. Did they take you weekly to the comic shop every Wednesday to get books?
No, I grew up in the '80s, so I rode my bicycle.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that is.
Well, grow up one day, be a man.
My bike is like right here. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably like
It's literally
with gears. Does it have real thin wheels too? What is it? It is a gear bike, huh? I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know. It muted. Yeah, that's my bike. It has. I don't know.
No, I was like Stranger Things at ET. I had to put all the work with my feet, no gears.
That's so funny. Well, that's so sick. And was that like one of your? I don't know. Did you go on a weekday? Did you see anyone? Maybe
I
you
went all the time.
What?
You cut out a little bit.
Oh,
I went all the time, more than once. I would go 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about to the Marvel offices. Did you go on a weekday?
Oh.
Like, did you see anyone? Oh, man, not like it'd be Standard Jack, but like, oh wow, there's, I don't know, Walt Simonson or whoever.
I wouldn't know who any of those guys were. I wouldn't know Stan Lee, but so when we went to the Marvel offices, well, because like in your comic journey, you started and you've gone backwards.
Yeah.
I started in the '90s and kind of have only gone like this.
That's
So like this.
yeah,
Not too far up. So when I went to Marvel, Joe Madureira was real big. And I didn't see him, but they went in the office. They're telling you how everything's done, and they went in and grabbed some pages. And sure enough, I was like such a Joe Mad fan. I'm like, that's Joe Mad art, though I haven't seen it yet. Like, but I could tell. And then sure enough, that December or whenever, there was a Uncanny X-Men Christmas where Gladiator and Cannonball fought, and those were the pages I was looking at up at Marvel.
Oh no way.
So that was pretty cool.
That's so sick. Okay, so obviously from what you and I talked about growing up, you were a Marvel guy and essentially you're an X-Men guy. You called me out even at when we're getting beers for not recognizing the Joe Mad Deadpool on the hostess's shirt. What is your go-to best X-Men story?
Story?
Yeah.
Okay, let me add more to
my run.
Comic. Let me add more to my comic journey.
Okay.
First comic I read was Generation X #1.
You told me that. I remember that.
I think that might be. I mean, I don't know what year that is, but it's after Image started. So you're talking maybe 94, 96. I don't know what that is. You Googling it? What are you
I'm
doing?
Googling it right now for you.
Cool. So that story has a place in my heart because that's when I really was like, wow, comics are more than art. Like I really was so in love with that book, and I
All
thought
right.
Implate was super scary. Then I started. I mean, I always knew what the X-Men books were about and the Image books because, I mean, I went over every page for like hundreds of hours.
Oh, really?
So I probably spot read it out of order, but never. It wasn't until Generation X that I started actually like reading comic books.
Oh, so like
So
1996 is when it number one came out.
that's probably when I did it right. I started with a number one, and I just went forward on a series, and I loved it. And then I was like so into Age of Apocalypse.
I was gonna ask because I feel like you're right at the Age of Apocalypse window.
Yeah, because that was 4 issues in, and I followed it in with Generation X, and I bought every single book. And I was already buying Joe Mann stuff, so he had it in. I was so, um, it was just an exciting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so obviously, I'm sure on top of all of this, you were doing your sketches of the cards or selling sketches for superheroes to your friends at school or whatever. But
Well, that
when
was
did your
first grade.
that was first grade? Yeah, you're still doing it, dude. You never stopped
Yeah.
ever. Everyone still bought too. They're like, we want this. Um, when did you like? Okay, actually, I kind of think I want to do this for a career. I'm like, was it just the obsession and the? Because I can get that too. It's like, oh man, that's why I do this.
Um, I mean, you look like you like plants, not comics. I mean, look at me. Look at this. Jim Lee, master, right here.
I know that was. I feel like that's on purpose.
Cute
Hey,
little
who's
photocard.
this master right there, baby? Clayman Batcat sketch variant, sponsored by you.
If I knew such an Uber fan, I would have drawn it bigger.
It's okay.
Um,
I'm getting another sketch out of you, so don't worry about it.
so let me see. You asked me if when did I know I want to draw comics?
Yeah.
Do you remember those projects at school where it goes, "What do you want to be when you
Of
grow up?"
course. Yeah.
I went from being a vet to a National Geographic photographer to drawing comics. Probably, I think I mean, very early on. So, probably somewhere in early middle school, 6th grade.
Yeah. That's awesome. Because like also the fact that you stuck with it and you work side jobs, we'll get there too. But so did you go from graduating high school to just work on your craft? I don't know how crowdfunding or just like making your own books looked like back then.
Crowdfunding.
That's what I'm saying. That's my only frame of reference for how to make a book now.
Oh, I thought you were asking if I did that.
Yeah, did you and your brother do creator owned work, or like was your brother also simultaneously I want to be an artist? Because I know that you were doing your art and he came on, he was doing your inks, which I think is so cool.
So crowdfunding, man, I don't even think that was a thing. So, well, at high school, I kind of my mom was very adamant that I go to college, and there was a ton of pressure on that.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 weeks before I went, Seth and I were going to the same college. I backed out.
Oh
Um,
no.
so Seth went, and I backed out, and I just had no desire to go to school at all. And I was doing it because my mom wanted me to, but I backed out. Um, and then, I had to get a job. So then I was doing like landscaping, and then I got into roofing. I was roof for a couple of years, and then I was plumbing for a few years. Somewhere between the roofing and plumbing, I started drawing again because
Oh wow.
I kind of stopped because it just wasn't fitting into real life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as my as I never got out of comics, but
Of course.
I finally was like, I hate I hate plumbing. I hated it.
I could imagine. That's not in roofing is hard work.
But I like to be outside. So I do miss roofing sometimes because the days were early, they ended early, and you stand up roofs all the time and you just see beautiful sunrises and see the
Mhm.
rain coming. It was nice. I like it.
Well, that's good.
But it didn't. The pay wasn't great. It's
Yeah.
piecework, so you got to work real hard. And if you're on the bottom of the totem pole, you don't get the big piece work. You don't get the sections that give you a lot of money. So it
Mhm.
was hard. So that's why I left for plumbing. But yeah, anyway, I just kept drawing, got into it again. I would try to build a portfolio, what I thought, I'd put together pieces and I'd go to a con in Florida here. But
Heroes Con, Terrificon, or Terrificon's in Connecticut. Heroes Con?
no, that's North Carolina. So there was
Oh,
MegaCon. It was the
that's
biggest.
the one I was looking for.
Yeah. MegaCon was the biggest one in Florida. And when I was going there, no one really, there wasn't like a presence, or I didn't know how to do it. So if there was anyone who could help me, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't recognize names other than like a J. Scott Campbell or Joe Mann, but I wasn't asking for jobs.
Yeah.
And then I met a kid here in town at a comic book shop who did have he just got an Image book picked up.
Gnarly.
He was writing it. His name was Carmen Trefoletti, I think.
Mhm.
Forsaken, maybe. And he looked at my stuff and, I was just like, I was so like, oh my God, this guy's making a book. That's so cool. And I was jealous. But he said I could do a pinup in it, a splash page in the back.
Oh, that's sick.
So that's my first published work. No one has that thing. It's so bad. But he said, stop wasting my time and go to a real con, as in go to one that I could get hired at. So like, like Marvel or DC would be at. So literally, the second he told me that, my brother and I booked a trip to the earliest one, and that was in Chicago.
Oh, was that C2E2?
That was probably a Wizard Chicago at the time. That was bigger than C2E2.
And what year is this?
So I believe it's the year Batman Begins came out.
Okay, so like 04, 05.
And I know that because Seth and I won a bracelet and they put us in a bus and took us to a secret screening of it on that trip.
Oh,
So I
look
always
at you.
I know. So at that con, you ready for more of the story?
I'm ready.
You need a breath? You need good?
I'm buckled up.
Sorry if it's boring, but you're boring.
No, I love it.
So I went to that con and I put my name in for portfolio reviews for DC and Marvel. And you know what? Oh, man. There's another thing that happened, but this might come later.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I think that's later. So I went to this con. Out of 10 people, I have a picture of it somewhere. Out of 10 people, I'm on the Marvel board, because they picked 10 people to come back. And my name's on the Marvel board. They picked 10 people at DC. I'm one of the 10 they asked to come back. And then Michael Turner was at the show. And he just asked, do you want to come out to California? And my mouth was on the floor because I'm like, yeah. But I was in, a relationship. And I was like, can she come? And I could just see the spark leave his eye. It's probably like, girl, if you have girl, you can't work. That's what it felt like,
Yeah.
Like they want a single dude who will just like, I don't know, something. I just saw a shift in his as soon as I said that, or maybe. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It was still cool because I got to talk to him, and But then I go home, and nothing came out of it. So I kept sending stuff in, and finally, it might have been the next year or two. I think I got all this in order. The next year, maybe I went to MegaCon, but this time Joe Quesada was there,
Oh my gosh.
and I made a shirt.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, so it says, I think it said, "I must meet Quesada," and I printed it on my chest. "I must meet Quesada," something like that. And then I went to the con. I was like the second one in the door. Waited all morning. Went to his table, sat there till he came. Said I wanted a portfolio review, and he said he wasn't doing them. And I said, "I'll wait." And I went right to the side. I think I sat down on carpet too. Real embarrassing. Like, I think I just sat down. I was not going to leave
Yeah.
until because at the time he's EIC or something.
Is he?
So
Was that like Marvel Knights Joe Quesada too? Right?
no, this is Joe Quesada running Marvel.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's okay. My timeline's off, but yeah.
Yeah, this is a little later. So finally, he looked at it and he goes, "It's good." I'll basically something like, I'll get you some work or something.
No
And I
way.
said, my immediate response was, "I've heard that before."
Oh, you're brutal, man.
I didn't even mean to say it. It just slipped out because I have heard it before. And someone at Marvel was talking to me from the original portfolio review and just never. It was CB Sobuleski.
Oh, CB Cebulski. Okay, yeah. Currently
Yeah.
the editor right now. Yeah.
Well, he's the guy who was my contact at Marvel, but he left Marvel. If you go through his timeline, there's a time he left Marvel, and that's when he was talking to me. So when he left, I kind of had no contact.
Yeah.
And it's who you know. That's the business. It's just
Yeah.
who you know. Joe Quesada said some pretty blunt, like, I'm the boss. If I say I'll get you some work, I'll get you some work. And he did. So that just led to me talking to him, which led to him put me into contact with an editor who eventually gave me work. So
And
there's
that
the story.
No, you go.
No, that's my story. That's pretty much it.
That's crazy. Cause like I looked at number one, your first title was that I looked at your Wikipedia, which I don't know how trustworthy that is. Is that the Fantastic Four book?
No, you're horrible, Cameron.
Okay,
That is. I'll give you my phone number when you're an actual fan.
Yeah, when I actual good. Oh, I'll earn it. I have a question. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna skip ahead.
It's Unlimited X-Men number 13.
Oh, was that extra there? You're right. It was that. Of course, you're right. It's your
right.
life, but correct. But was it extra special for it just to be like an X-Men book too, or was that kind of like I'm gonna treat this seriously? I can't even have time to fanboy right now.
It was extra special until I got the script, and it had nothing to do with X-Men. And it was so hard because that's the first time I actually had to like do it for real.
Yeah.
And I was plumbing at the time, and I was leaving to go on a plumbing. The boss put together a cruise for all the plumbing guys, and it was like 2 days before I was going, so I had to draw this, and it was so hard. I'm just like, I hate this. I can't do this. And but I turned it in, and I've never been out of work since then. So
wow.
And it's not good.
I'm gonna go read it, so I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care about it either. So
no, I don't care if it's not good. You're also, everyone listening, after conversations with Clay, I think you were so critical of your own work. Obviously, you're the artist, but like reinforce that he is as good as everyone thinks he is. Okay, because you are. I mean it. I'm not just saying that because you're here and I want you back, and I want your phone number. I'm not just saying it because of those reasons. But I'm just like, because I did I didn't reread, but I combed through Heroes in Crisis today, and I'm just like, those splash pages, especially just like my favorite. I looked at the two that stuck out to me because I love the one with the flowers, Wally West standing in the flower field, which looks like I also so appreciate that you showed the process on all of that, because that is insane how that came together. And then, but it's Superman flying over Kansas in the first issue, or to get to Sanctuary. And then the last issue one where it's the Heroes in Crisis in the clouds, and it's Blue Beetle's, I forget what it's called, the Beetle or whatever his ship is flying through. I was like, that is just gorgeous. So, anyways, more pages underrated. But okay, let's just move forward. So this transitions into you going into, actually, you working with Ed Brubaker as a co-creator of Lady Bullseye.
Okay.
How was that? Because Ed Brubaker's Daredevil run, great, obviously. I obviously didn't realize that you were on that book, but it's like, oh, you're also on it for a first appearance.
Don't know much, Cameron.
I don't know much. I just know I saw a face and I looked at a name tag, and here we are now.
So I'm gonna be careful what I say here, because if she's ever in a movie or something, I really want that co-creator credit.
So she is right now. She's currently on Hit Monkey, I think.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait for something better. I don't know what that is. I know it's a cartoon, right?
I didn't know it had a second season, so you're fine. But okay, I'll go.
It did, or did I mean?
It has a second season. That's
yeah, but I don't. That doesn't count. I mean like live action. Like
okay.
He pops up in the new Daredevil show.
Let's hope.
But I was the first one to draw her on in a book.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's about the extent of it. But yeah, I was the first one to draw her, and that was a pretty cool experience. And yeah, I worked with him on that, and then I also did a issue of Immortal Iron Fist, some there too.
Which are two, like, when I look back at some of the runs that you've been a part of, those are two crazy titles that are huge fan favorites.
Yeah, that would be my editor Warren. He was the editor on both those books. So he hooked me up. I mean, I didn't do much. I mean, I did do the whole issue of the Daredevil, and then I think the Iron Fist one is, it's like bits and pieces of it. But no, it's cool because I know Ed's run is like, beloved. So it's pretty cool.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Okay. Then what I understood to be your first ongoing, but obviously I'm probably wrong, was the Gambit series that you did. You're shrug right there. What? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting who the writer was. I want to say it's Colin Bunn, but I don't think that's right.
That's wrong.
I said it was wrong before I even said it. But you did that ongoing. How was that? Because it looked like you were doing some fill-in issues, and then you came in to do that ongoing. How was that experience for you, especially with such a great, you're a child of the X-Men, especially a Jim Lee X-Men era. He's a Jim Lee X-Men character. How was that? Was that unreal? Was it like, oh my gosh, finally, I want to do Gambit if I do Gambit? Or if I do an X-Man? Was it kind of like that, or how was that?
Well, I had been doing, you should call this Cameron. I'll let the guests fill in the gaps.
You're welcome.
So, well, I had done Fantastic Four, the Daredevil, like you said, Iron Fist. I did Elektra miniseries. I was tired of doing the street level stuff.
Oh, really?
And I guess I was so new at the job, I didn't really know you could tell an editor I don't want to draw this stuff anymore. And I did. And then they shipped me over to X-Men office, and I was super excited. The X-Men book was James Asmus.
Okay.
That's the writer. It had switched writers a few times because, I mean, if you knew what the story was about, which you don't, I could tell you the other plots, but I'll say that for someone who it would actually be meaningful to.
Actually, they'd love it.
But yeah, so it was cool. I mean, it wasn't the X-Men's Gambit though. So
Okay.
like I always start a project pretty passionate, and then I soon find out it's probably it's very rarely what I think it's going to be. And that was the case of that book. I don't dislike it. It's Gambit, but like it has almost zero connection to, this stuff.
Yeah.
The X-Men, the Jim Lee stuff to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I did get to draw him in his classic suit, so there was that moment.
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't really, checking off the boxes for me with, what I grew up loving.
No. All right. Well, it was good. It's good that you got that experience.
Yeah.
And then now you're at where I found you, or at least eventually you came to where I found you. There's some books in the middle that I was like, all right, but
Well, you could name the X-Men book since I'm a huge X-Men fan, but you can skip over all those. Sure, yes.
what are those? Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna go to your Wikipedia page now. We're gonna do this like this now.
No. I did
Yes,
X-Men Legacy, then I did X-Men regular X-Men when they were
regular
playing
X
these,
Men with Brian Wood in 2014. I see you.
yeah, which that was that was that was there's a saying, something already burning or something. The house was already on fire when I got to it. So
You got to write them, and I'm sure this is the thing now. I don't know, at least the way I see it, or
I got to
if I
write
was
them.
running the show.
Did you say that?
What?
Did you say I got to write them?
No. You got to work on them. I said if I was writing them, or if I was, it was I was Joe Quesada. I'm like, whatever Clay wants, he gets, because I think and that's what I think DC did with you, which I'm like, yeah.
You can look at my no. I thank Marvel for continuing to give me a job because it's some pretty awful stuff. I do remember Joe Quesada telling me, pretty sure it was him. I think he might have said, because I have a bunch of emails from him, he might have said, I'm not ready.
No, not really.
But the learning is in the job.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like old Kirby quote too, right? Comics will break your heart, kid. That's just part of the gig.
Well, I'm not sure that's the same quote, but
What? He said, kids, comic will break your heart, or isn't that?
he wasn't telling me break my heart. He was telling me that I might not be ready, as in my skill set, but he'll go ahead and hire me because what I'm lacking, I will learn on the job.
Mm. And you did a great job.
You think those two quotes sound the same?
I think they do. I think that the work is never as glamorous. What I assume is for any industry is like the work isn't glamorous, but needs to get done, and it's like the fruit of the work. That's where I was landing on that, where it's like, oh man,
Comics will break your heart. I've heard Rob Liefeld quote that, I think maybe from Kirby. Someone, not you.
Tom King quoted it from Kirby in Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, that's not it.
It's definitely for an X-Men guy.
He loves Kirby and he talks about him all the time.
Liefeld?
So, yeah.
The comparisons between him and Kirby are, I think, very apt. It's like they have their own style. I think their intuitive styles, like when you're looking at Liefeld, when you're looking at Kirby, how bombastic they make all their pages. I just think their intuitive love and knowledge for and of how to make comics is unparalleled. So, okay, wait. So now you did a couple after you did X-Men. You did a couple Ninjak and oh my gosh, what's the company? Valiant books in 2015. Did you like working with Valiant?
So I've said this before, but I feel like people like hearing the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. I didn't want to leave Marvel.
I believe that.
I wanted a raise. And I was talking to DC at the time my editor at Marvel moved to Valiant and was always asking me, and I had no interest, zero interest.
Yeah.
But I was talking to DC, and not because I wanted to go there, just because I wanted them. I wanted to try to use them to get my page rate up at Marvel.
Yeah.
And I was talking to, I'm not going to say his name, but I was talking to the guy at Marvel, and he said to me, I said, I'm talking to DC. And he said, if I was talking to DC, I would have told him already. Like, it almost didn't feel like he believed me.
Yeah.
Plus, I wasn't getting a raise, and I'm super sensitive. So I'm like, I got off the phone, my feelings were hurt, and I called up my old editor, and I said, I'll come work for Valiant if you double my page rate. So I'm not talking, dude, I just wanted like $25 a page at Marvel.
Yeah.
$50.
Mm-hmm.
This guy doubled my page rate. He said yes instantly. I said, okay, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
That's when I did Ninjak.
Well,
or I did Exo Man War 0 with Venditti, and then I did Ninjak with Matt Kent.
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says. And then you're welcome. And then you
me too.
But then you went over to DC and you did Amy Chu's Poison Ivy, and that looks like it was during the New 52 DCU era.
That might be New 52. That was before I even cared about DC.
Yeah, because that's an interesting title to put you on, and really where I see you just, I think them putting you into the fold was when you were doing the Action Comics covers for Rebirth. That's when you came on my radar.
Well, I was at a dinner, and Amy Chu was there, and I was at Valiant still, I think. And she said she was doing Poison Ivy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or wanted to. And just like with Gambit, I think Gambit means X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my head, like, oh my God, Jim Lee's X-Men, I get to do Gambit. It's going to be amazing. Well, when I heard Poison Ivy, I'm like, I want to do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking Poison Ivy bad, Poison Ivy bad, Poison Ivy Batman, Poison Ivy, I thought it was getting me closer to Batman.
Yeah.
That book was so far from that.
Oh, yeah.
It just wasn't what I thought I was going to do. Just like, and with Gambit, like it had things I enjoyed, but it just wasn't what I was hoping for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then when I started getting like, I feel like when I finally got my first Superman cover, it felt like I was finally getting. Oh, well, I did Trinity after.
You did a bunch of amazing Trinity covers too. I didn't know you did the interiors. Yes, you did.
No, I did. I did like 2, 3.
Yeah, you did at least 3. Trust me, I saw those. I was like, whoa.
I drew a couple of those issues, and that's when they launched the Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was doing all those Action Comics covers at the same time, which, yeah, I think they just finally, when it's like, do you want to draw a Superman cover? Just like with the Gambit and the Poison Ivy. It was the first time where it's like, I said yes, and I go, oh, Doomsday's on it, and my mouth drops. Because I'm like, oh, you mean, like, I loved that book as a kid, so I'm like, oh my God, it's finally, like, lining up.
Yeah. So, and it's Dan Jurgens doing it, too, so Doomsday's going to be around, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Dan would send me little thumbs for the idea like he would want me to do on the cover. Mm-hmm. And like, I thought they were small. I asked him for some. He sent them to me. He sent me 2 of them. So I have like little sketches of Dan Jurgens drawing Superman and Doomsday. And
the coolest thing I could ever ask for, yeah.
No, it's amazing. So,
yeah,
I've been fortunate to get some cool stuff like that,
Yeah.
I have awesome.
My favorite cover of yours, though, or I don't know if it's a cover, it's an interior, because I've been meaning to read I've started, haven't finished the Dan Jurgens Action Comics run, but you had a cover with Eradicator, Cyborg Superman. I don't know if it's cover or interior, but it's an image you shared. It has Lex on it. It's
Cameron,
gorgeous though. I know.
let's have an intermission with Cameron knows nothing about comics. That's a cover.
Oh, there you go. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for inspiring you to just hit it out of the park.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
For a text.
Your
Oh man.
because it's funny enough, same SDCC where I got you to sketch that. I got Dan Jurgens to do a remark of Cyborg Superman because he's my absolute favorite Superman villain. It's like him and Mongol, and it's priceless to me.
He's not good.
Who, Cyborg Superman?
Oh, I love him. I don't care for Mongol too much.
Mongol's it's all because it's the Mongol of Return of Superman, blows up Coast City, and then goes up against Kyle Rayner. That whole window of Mongol, and then like Major Force and like all those. I'm like, yes, those are my guys. So there. I'm gonna get Riccardo Federici to. He was at this con, but I couldn't. I never found him.
So that story you're talking about is pretty recent.
2023 was when I got Dan Jurgens to sketch Cyborg Superman.
Baby.
I met him a couple years before that, but I didn't get any art from him because I spent all my money at the first con I ever met Dan Jurgens, GalaxyCon in Minneapolis. And who's who's commenting right now is Kyle Rice, who we got drinks with. He said the boys, and then he says waiting for his new Spider-Man sketch because Clay was nice enough to sketch Spider-Man for Kyle.
Can I comment? Can he hear me? Why can't I see his comments?
I don't know because I'm hosting. So
Kyle can hear me?
Yeah, Kyle can hear you.
Yeah, Kyle can hear me.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Okay. Kyle. Look how bland and boring this guy's background is. Look at these blinds. And this guy, you couldn't work at a surf shop. You know that, Cameron?
That's a running joke from our lodge. Look at, oh my gosh. When we text, I'll send you a photo of my other wall, which is all my DC books, my bike actually, too. I have 2 bikes, and all my surfboards. So there you go.
You're not wearing olive green or anything. I mean, what is that? A melted marshmallow on your shirt? What am I looking at?
The state of California being angry at you.
Oh, you're a little blurry. Am I blurry?
No, you're HD.
You're super blurry.
Okay, sorry. I think my internet isn't good over here, but this is the only table I have. This is the only desk I have in my whole, and it's my kitchen table.
What's the view? What's the view behind you?
Everyone can see.
No, like what's outside those blinds?
It's literally my street.
Well, like first level, second level?
I'm on the first level, but I'm also not going to disclose my information, dog.
It's just white.
Yeah, the sun's bleeding through. Yeah, that's my plan. Anyways, okay, so going back to that era of Superman and all that stuff. So was there a point then when, you're doing that because Rebirth goes on, all those series are doing twice monthly, and Tom's running through. He's doing so many. He has David Finch, he has Michael Janin, he has Mitch come on, he has. That's everyone I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Oh my god!
You're in that window too, though. Well, he had Jorge Fornes, and
What's my first issue?
I want to say it's Date Night, but that's not right, is it?
That's not right at all.
I can find out right now.
It's number 24, I think. It's the one
it is.
Where, okay. I drew half the issue with David Finch.
Oh my gosh, you got a big issue with 1 million reprints because it's when Batman proposes to Catwoman.
If that's 1 million reprints, DC owes me money. Is that what it says?
That's what or is that 17? No, wait. 17 is. Yeah, that's what it is. I know because I was subscribed to Batman at that time.
There's no way it has 1 million copies when they owe me lots of money.
It has at least two printings.
I don't know. But also, I'm only drew half of it, so I'm probably not. I don't know. It also won an award,
Oh,
and
really?
I sorry, I'm answering my phone.
You're
It
fine.
also won an award, and I didn't even get the award.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Da-
I literally saw it sitting. I went to Tom's house, and um, I saw the award sitting right on his table, and it said it was like the Diamond Award for best selling comic of that year, I think. And I was like, I do have that.
yeah, no, that's wild. That's crazy. Okay, wait. Now I'm looking for Batman 27 cover because that was your next issue, and I'm all paranoid.
That's probably Kite Man stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like your image of Kite Man is the one that's been circling around the most.
I drew the most Kite Man. I mean, Kite Man had a couple spots in one of Tom's books. That's where the Hell Yeah came from. And then Tom
Was
did a
that you or was that I thought that was Mikkel? No, that was you.
That wasn't Mikkel. No,
Oh, gnarly.
it was the name's lost on me right now.
Charlie Brown?
I mean that is
Kite Man's name.
that's Kite Man's name, but I'm talking about the artist. I didn't do the Hell Yeah issue. That was like a one issue, and then Tom did the Ballad of Kite Man, like
In
little
War of
art.
Jokes and Riddles.
Yeah, and I did all those.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Because no, the first one to do it then was David Finch because it was all the Batman villains cycling through.
He did not draw that issue I'm talking about.
Just the first one, the first Kite Man, hell yeah.
No.
Okay, well, what do I know? Well, I've literally never been right today, so I'm not even gonna try right now.
I know it, man. Who's the guy who just went over to um, Ghost Machine? The last
Princess
so
Manipool.
after him,
There's
it was
always
like second round. He is the last artist they plucked.
Ivan Rice
I think he drew.
because he did Titans Beast World, and that was like his last DC book.
I think he's the one who drew the Hell Yeah.
Oh no,
Did he draw those issues? Type in his name and type in Kite Man. See.
It's like, you know what the cool thing is? Tom did a bunch of cool interviews talking about those, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I take him very seriously. Yeah, I look up Kite Man on images, and it's mostly yours." And then
Drew good.
yeah, see, you did. I'm telling you. Do you need me to remind you all the time? Because I can.
I like those issues.
They're
Well, there was no pressure because Kite Man, no one cared about Kite Man, so I could do whatever I wanted. Batman's got a lot of pressure.
oh, that's okay. I can't find it, but we're gonna. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you when we look that up. Kyle is just blowing up the comments saying that he is Kite Man. So congrats, congrats, Kyle. But I want to talk about your collaboration with Tom, and I want you to retell a story that you told Kyle and I when it comes to date night, because you were talking about you were telling me about that issue, and you're saying what it was like working with Tom and how the best part of that issue was because of a confusion. So will you tell us about that, how that story came to be?
So that's still pretty new with me that I'm working with Tom, where we're getting along good and friendlier than any writer I've ever worked with. But he has a writing style that confused me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I joke with Tom that he writes flip books.
Yeah.
So when I read Tom's scripts, all I see is like move like that. Like my mind doesn't like move around with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It just always is like stationary. So like it would really intimidate me. And I I bring that up because when I got that script, Tom kept saying, like, if he's talking about Bruce Wayne in and out of costume, even in other issues, even when I was drawing the very first issue I did with the engagement, Tom will just, it'll be like, Batman swinging, Bruce says this, Bruce jumps, Batman lands, and I'm like, I'm assuming he's in costume right now. Now you factor that into date night, and Tom's like, I was getting so confused by what he was saying that I think there was something with the cow, but the big thing I told you is if you have Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, right, and they're going to switch identities, I thought that Clark would still wear glasses because he's still Clark Kent. Tom didn't ask for him to have glasses. So it looked pretty ridiculous when I started turning in pages. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, it's like that was it. I'm like, oh wait, so basically like my favorite part of both those issues when they switch costumes is because Tom was unclear about writing Batman and Bruce and whether or not they were in costume.
Well, I actually might have been putting two stories together, but I was that already. I think I asked my editor, but my editor never really helped with that. He goes, ask Tom. He's like, you ask Tom. And I was too intimidated by Tom at the time.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I was happy to have. Also, I got that job because Tom didn't want another artist on the book. So in my head, I'm like, I could come and go at any time.
No.
I'm like, Tom likes me now. Do whatever Tom wants.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask Tom questions. Like, just. And I felt stupid because I'm like, I just thought maybe I'm not getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the glasses thing, I still stand by what I did because
yeah,
Clark, if he's Clark Kent, a Batman mask isn't going to make him see.
Yeah, no, you're right. And secret identity and the whole thing. No, it's so.
I do have a pet peeve with secret identities. Like in a story where you'll see Batman and like Robin talking on a rooftop, and Robin will be like, Bruce, oh man, it kills me. It does. I'm just like, I could literally take out Batman by just putting microphones through the rooftops of Gotham, and I would know who he is because everyone's just running around calling him Bruce constantly.
Yeah, so it's like in Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man where he just always gets a secret identity found out because he's a clumsy kid. It's like, oh my, or when. Yeah, no, Aunt May finds out, or when he tells Mary Jane. Anyways, he's always getting it spoiled. But also, yeah. Okay, wow. Wait, did you? Okay, so it goes from Batman, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I have a track record now, to Heroes in Crisis. Okay, correct. Cool. Goes to Heroes.
You want to know if that's the next thing?
No, I want to go into Heroes in Crisis and talk about, okay, because you know you've earned Tom's trust by then, because then you get placed on a huge book, an event.
I believe I heard. I wasn't Tom's first choice. I think he wanted Jason Fabok on it.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
So I was just, you know. Yeah, so
it's not easy.
It's not. That's why you and I bond so well. We're both stuck.
Yeah, that's, you know what? We're here now, all right? And this is the best podcast that ever happened. The best live stream in the world. So you're on that book. I want to know, okay, the two challenges from what I've heard in drawing a book like that are number one, all the characters in the world are in the, and especially you had to draw so many characters, so many expressions, and also it's an event book. So my question is, what was the biggest difference for you writing or drawing an event book as opposed to an ongoing series?
Um, I mean, I was excited. I thought it was going to be a huge hit. Good news, everybody liked my artwork.
Great.
Low blow to Tom King right there, just a joke.
Good.
But actually, I actually am not in the camp of hating drawing team books because I actually get extremely bored drawing the same character in every panel.
Mm-hmm.
And I like using other characters in the foreground and background, and it helps me like frame a shot. I found the pages just more interesting to draw. And
Yeah.
also, anytime I might get tired of a character, I had another character to draw. So, but I think that book was special for me because I didn't know anything about Booster Gold. And I mentioned earlier, like when I draw Batman and Superman, there's such a pressure because in my head I see what they look like already. It's
Yeah.
usually it's like, I mean, Jim Lee's ruined them for me. Jim Lee, and you know, there's a there's a lot on. I can name other than Jim Lee, but like for the most current guy who's ruined it for me, he did. So it's like it's just really intimidating. But Booster Gold was just like a breath of fresh air, and I had so much fun drawing him. So I would do a solo book of him in a second if
No way.
it
I'm
won't
like
sell.
shocked.
It won't sell though.
That's not true. Like, especially that's not true because you have this whole generation of fans now who are going back, and especially with what it's looking like. James,
I don't think it'll make royalties.
oh, I think he's gonna. I think he is like a fan favorite. He's kind of like Lobo in that way, where everyone just loves him.
And tell me the sales on a Lobo book.
I don't know. He was just in Action Comics event, House of Brainiac.
That's not. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I would welcome Booster Gold into any book I was doing because I had a lot of fun with him.
You know who'd crush it is Tom because look at Kyle says you made him love Booster Gold because also you drew him and Blue Beetle's dynamic so perfectly. Probably
like me and Kyle. It'd be like if Kyle and I were hanging out.
Yeah. Kyle, I invited him to the live stream, but he had work. So
yeah, well, he's got a real life. He doesn't work at a surf store. So.
I literally work at more than one place, but it's okay. But you drew Booster Gold, and that dynamic has because like Tom also loves that character. He popped up, Tom's love letter to the JLI in Human Target. So there's like,
I love how you get all the Tom King facts right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's had a lot less books.
Who?
Tom.
In quantity or just titles?
Just titles.
Yeah, that's not true either.
What has he had a million titles I don't know about? Okay, well, I'm never right, so I'm giving up on that. Okay, so that's about as much as I want to talk about Heroes in Crisis, really. I think your art in that book is just insane. I also saw that Essential Sequential, as of last week, was selling some pages, and they had your Superman 9-panel page for sale.
It's just stats everywhere.
That is so sick. I'm like, oh, well, it's like they posted it recently, and I was like, oh wow, Clayman, because I always thought comic sketch art sold your art, but I don't know how that works. So
no, he does more like my convention stuff, and then the other guy sells my art.
Well, that's sick. I can't afford Gerard, so I'm gonna go get your remarks all day, every day. Oh, actually, one question. I have two more topics to talk to you about. Um, First being Batcat, and at any point, because it would have been while you were younger, but what like you brought in Mask of the Phantasm into on mainstream ongoing DC continuity. What was that like for you? Were you a huge Batman the Animated Series fan, or like, oh, it's all right? I saw that movie on VHS or in the theater. You could have.
I was huge in that cartoon, and my grandma on my dad's side bought that movie, and my brother, she bought it when we were on a trip there, and we just consumed it. I was heartbroken after that movie. So like really, I thought it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. I'm a sucker for sad movies. I never want to watch them again, but uh, yeah, it just hit me hard, that movie, and I really love that character.
No, yeah, she's and like also your rendition, like again, all your covers for that series are absolutely insane. Like I can't even your issue number one cover, or I think the first image that was released was Batman, Catwoman facing each other on the gargoyle, and then way in the back was Phantasm. That was one of the best title drops. That was one of the best announcements for a new character, and then all those covers were just absolutely perfect. And that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you.
There's no question there. That's all I just have to say. Um,
Appreciate your kind words.
I mean it. I mean it, and you should. And they're not just because you're standing here, or sitting here. I got it. So was that did what was it like? Did Tom pitch you on that book? Did you pitch Tom on that book? He said, "Hey, let's finish up the run. Let's go do Batman, Catwoman." He's like, "Oh, it's also going to be broken in time, so it's going to be past, present, future."
So, and Cameron knows nothing about comics. Tom was writing the main Batman book,
Yeah.
and he switched off that books for reasons you can ask him about or Google.
Yeah.
But you don't do that.
Oh my gosh.
So he was continuing his run because this run was supposed to be 100.
Yeah.
And I think he was in like top 80s or early 90s when he got off.
He left at 86.
Wow.
But I didn't Google that, by the way.
Yeah. So he was finishing his story, but I think his story never had Phantasm in it. I had been begging him to do Phantasm in his main run, and when it came over, I still continued to beg him, and I got permission from Dan DiDio.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. So Tom wrote her in the book for me. I asked for it. He gave it to me. So
that is so freaking sick. I didn't know that was you. And I told you in person, but now I'm going to tell you again on the pod. Your costume for Helena was my favorite because it reminded me, and I asked you about this when I met you the first time, if that was inspired by Grant Morrison's Rock of Ages Batman costume, and it wasn't. It wasn't then. It isn't now.
I don't even know what that is.
It's just the same color scheme where it's all black with the yellow bat, and I think it's the coolest thing.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, so during all this, is Seth the one inking your work, or like when was he? Because I feel like from what I've seen, especially now, he's been along for the ride this whole time.
Good guess. So Seth filled in on a Marvel book for me, X-Men Schism. And he didn't do much at Marvel. Then when I went to Valiant, he started helping me on Valiant stuff.
Mhm.
He, it was never his real job. It was like, moonlighting and stuff. But and then he did my inks on Poison Ivy, most of them. And then he started to phase out around that book because it was just too hard to do it and do his day job. So actually on the Kite Man issues I did, Seth wasn't really inking me anymore, and I couldn't ink myself because of the deadline. So I had someone else ink the book, and it's not really the look I was going for. So the next issue, Seth and I jump back on, and that's when I officially became my own inker.
Oh no, okay. And then when did you said it's pronounced Tamayu?
You might have just confused me. I wish you would let me say it first.
I
Tomeo.
said
Tomeo.
Tamayo. Okay, when did Tamayo come on board for all? Because I think he colors your work phenomenally.
Now you have me think. I hear it wrong so many times where I'll be like, I'll actually memorize the wrong one, but I think we have it right now. I'm gonna be so embarrassed if I remember later it's the other way around.
He can come on and correct me himself, and that is an invitation. So, yeah. So he was coloring I asked for him, I think, to do my Superman Action Comics covers. Okay.
He did some of those. I thought they were amazing. And I thought he was amazing on another artist, which I saw him on. And when he did that was around the time did a couple of those. And I was finishing up on Batman. And when they offered me Heroes in Crisis, they were giving me another colorist. And I remember telling my editor, I do not want that colorist. And they're like, why? And I told him who I wanted. And he's like, why? So I literally I think I did this huge long email with pictures and was showing him how this person would do me better. And, and man, I think without him, I'm not a good I'm not a good artist. He makes me excited to look at my own art. So
that's awesome.
He's really a valuable person to me. I think he's just so. I mean, he's an artist. I don't. If you guys want to treat yourself, you go look at he can draw too, and I think that's why he can color so well.
Yeah.
Because I think he understands it. But I love his stuff. And then if we're not ever working together, it's because I'm not getting my way. So.
Well, yeah, no, I love how he colors your art, and I think he elevates so well, and obviously with everything, with me being the fan I am now of you, he's definitely a contributing factor to that. So, okay, now we're transitioning into Batman Nightfire. This is actually on behalf of Beyond Comics and also myself, but Beyond Comics asked me to ask you about.
Tell me about Beyond Comics.
Beyond Comics is my buddy on my social medias. He's a follower of the channel, and so he wanted to know anything we could know about Batman Nightfire. But I have a first question when it comes to that is based on the description that the press has given us.
Wait, don't read that. Where are you getting that quote at?
The quote is DC posted an article from when it was announced at New York Comic Con, Elseworlds. I don't think it's that crazy of a question. I think it's kind of foundational to the story from what I've read.
Say what? Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
I'll just go ahead and just shut me down if not.
That's not what I thought you were talking about. Go ahead.
No. It's not about the release date or anything. It says, the description says, on the night of Joker's death, and then it continues, but I want to
Does
stop
it
right
say
there.
death?
Yeah, I thought it literally says death.
I don't know the website.
The death of uh, DC Comics. Yeah.
I wonder, has that been altered? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. No, I just was if it's not death, then I don't know. But uh, I was wondering. I'm like, if you could have done a story like this is your. It literally says on the evening of Joker's execution, not death. Sorry. Okay,
Oh my God.
execution. I
Kyle, Cameron, just, jeez Louise, Kyle.
I messed up one word. Um,
It's not even close.
execution and death are not similar. I'm gonna stand by myself.
But where I don't understand how you're reading execution and saying death, and then I question the word death, and you're like,
What?
because I know how it was written, and I'm like,
That's why I'm like, I feel like that's not that controversial. Okay, so Joker gets executed.
Okay.
That being the case,
That sounds like what I remember us turning in. You're saying death. I'm like, who changed the words?
it's
Cameron
me.
changed the
Okay,
words.
I'm guilty. But okay, so that just makes me think that Joker's being shelved for this story, and you don't need to go here or there about that. But
Shelved.
shelved. Okay, well then I'm just gonna
No, what do
ask
you
the
mean
question.
shelved?
Like he's not going to be used. He's going to be used at the beginning on whatever happens that night, and then it's going to move forward and it's going to change Batman forever. That being the case, my question is: Are you? I'm not going to ask if you're going to be using him now because I don't want to spoil or put you in rocky territory.
I didn't understand. I thought when I heard you say shelved, I thought you were talking about other books, saving them for our book.
No. I mean your story, not using him, but I don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. So I'm going to literally just stop.
Well, I know you know what execution means because you somehow weirdly, you know.
Yeah, he gets. I'm like, I guess who is your favorite Batman villain then? Like, because obviously I feel like everyone wants to do their Batman Joker story.
This is not really a Batman Joker story.
Okay, well that's all. That's what I want to know. It's not a Batman Joker story. That's great news. Um, what did it? What has it been
On the
like
night of the Joker's execution.
on the night of Joker's execution? You're welcome. There's nobody who's more enthusiastic about being wrong in front of you than me too. So that's a win. I'm gonna take that.
I don't know why you're enthusiastic about it. It's so constant. You think
Oh my god. There's no shame here. There's no shame because we're already best friends and you're already on the pod. So, okay, wait. So, a mysterious fire engulfs city of Gotham, threatening to reveal the dark truth hiding behind the mask of its greater protector, Batman. So, that just, I guess, kind of brings me to my question, which is,
did you change any words?
no, I literally read that verbatim, so I would never make any problems. Oh my gosh. I guess it's just so vague. I did wonder about it being an Elseworld and like what is the difference for you? Is there anything that surprised you about writing an Elseworld title? It's like, oh my gosh, Batman. I can, you make your own sandbox within that story as opposed to, I have to, this happened before, this happened after, you don't quite have to abide by those rules.
Yeah, so the story we made, my brother and I, kind of, it was already a story when we pitched it, and it could technically fit in continuity. It could fit anywhere, and we're not shaping it for one place or another.
That's good.
So it might not even, I don't know. Yeah, well, I'll just be quiet on that. So
Okay, Beyond Comics, watching currently, has a question. Any particular inspiration for Batman Nightfire?
inspiration. I mean, there's a lot of things that I feel like I haven't like story wise. My brother and I really love movies. We love a lot. We like stories that like. I mean, even we go back to the Phantasm story. Like I said, I was like heartbroken. Like we really like stories that like get you thinking. We like deep stories, but no one's staring out windows in the comic I'm drawing if I'm in control of it. So
Hmm.
there's no staring out windows. I want like I'm inspired by a lot of the comics in the 90s. People don't think they had stories, but they were so entertaining to look at, you know?
Yeah.
So, stuff like that. I want a lot of action, or just I don't want a lot of boring stuff. I don't want any like slow moment in the book.
Mm.
Like, did, did you watch Tenant?
Yeah.
Do you watch movies?
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
I do.
That movie, not everyone likes it, but
Yeah.
the one thing I find so entertaining about watching it is it almost never let me relax.
Hmm.
Like there was never one moment. A lot of Christopher Nolan movies, they just do not slow down. Inception, and Tenet, like I want it to feel like that.
Hmm.
I just do not want it. I just want it starts from the Joker's execution to the end of the book. I just every book should have a cliffhanger. Every book is going to have a reveal. You're saying if the story thing's a little vague because literally it's just chock full of reveals. So
Yeah. I guess it's vague. I want to be able to ask a question about it, but I'm like, oh, like I don't know what to hook onto. Joker's execution, a mysterious fire, but it's a mysterious fire. I don't want to ask what caused the fire. That's what the first thing that comes to my head is. Um,
I'll see how the book's called Nightfire.
yeah.
Eventually
Also,
you're gonna get your answer.
yeah. So, question
Yes.
about the title. Did you anticipate how many people would want to be calling it Nightfire with a K?
Uh, when so Seth came up with the name, and I'm so over the K. It's nothing to do with the K. It's not the night, so we're not. It's like a legit night.
Yeah, it's
So
just a
no
fire
K.
event. Okay.
We're not. No, not doing that.
Okay, wait. So if it's influenced, okay, now I feel like I'm treading on something. Oh, here's a
What?
question.
Yeah. What do you
Oh,
think you? What do you think you came up with, detective?
I'm seeing well, you're saying 90s. I'm thinking Chuck Dixon Batman era, which is my personal favorite. And color schemes, the red and the yellow are giving a certain
On camera
ally.
knows comics, knows nothing about comics.
You're
I
not. It's
didn't
not.
pick those colors when it was colored, by the way.
Oh right. Oh, I guess yeah. You got colored. I'm just saying it's giving Azrael. That's all.
It's
Azrael influence, and
no
I wouldn't be opposed.
Azrael, and Sean Gordon Murphy just used that character, so
I know, and it was amazing. I have the action figure.
it was very cool. I like his art a lot.
Good. He's amazing. And you're also amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, Clay, I've had you for like an hour 20 now. And so I am
You
going to wind down the stream and let you go. But I'm going to ask you the same
answer all
question.
your friends' questions good enough?
Yeah, no, you did.
I
Totally.
don't know. Did you
Who's your
ask?
favorite Batman artist, actually, by the way?
Uh, I have a lot, but Jim Lee's right at the top, probably.
Okay, Jim Lee. Okay, a second favorite to Jim Lee because we know you love Jim Lee.
Batman? Oh man, I'm not gonna. You know those things where they'll show like two faces, like
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
show like two guys, and the girl will go like this.
hmm
Do you really?
yeah.
Give me two, and I'll pick one or the other. I can't think of any right now.
Oh my god. Okay, which one? Okay, you have one or two. Which one do you want?
You don't know what I'm talking. Name me two artists, and I'll pick one or the other.
Batman artist. Okay. I
I'll tell
want
you
to.
if I don't like them. I'll tell you if they're close to the top. I'm having a break.
I'm
Like
gonna say my favorites. I'll say Norm
yeah,
Brayfogle or I
he's
just love
one of my favorite Superman artists.
Norm Brayfogle for Superman.
Is that not who am I thinking of?
I'm trying Norm
Yeah, I'm
Brayfogle.
thinking of Bond. Never mind. That's not the.
Norm Brayfogle. What about Oh my gosh. Now I'm spacing.
No, I was thinking of, dude, Bagnov. I can't say it.
Oh, Bagdown of John Bagdown of
That guy.
Oh,
I think I
amazing
have that
cover.
cover in my head because of all the Batman. Who's the one you just said?
I said Norm Brayfogle. Like it was him and Alan Grant on Shadow of the Dark Knight for a long time.
He does the real crazy cape.
It is a real crazy cape, and he made the yellow circle cool.
He's not super. There's a lot above him on my list.
What about Jim Aparo?
Love.
Okay, okay. That makes sense. You would like really polished styles. So okay, so
polished. It doesn't have to be polished. I'm attracted to the way Batman looks. And it's not in polish, but like his body shape and size. Aparo and Jim Lee, kind of similar bodies. Like to me.
Hey, Beyond Comics says your cat's amazing, and your cat's been a part of this whole interview this whole time. So wait, what's your cat's name?
That thing is named Penny, and I hate the name.
Oh my gosh! Here's a fun fact of when I get a dog. You said Penny or Kenny?
Penny.
Penny. Okay. Here's when I get a dog. I'm gonna name my dog Foggy Nelson. So don't steal that.
You look like Foggy Nelson.
That is the greatest compliment I could get. Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna end it on that, on naming Batman artists and my brain not being able to name any. Clay, thank you so much.
I didn't name that cat, by the way. That's why I hate the name. I don't want to be mean to the cat.
Who named the cat?
That was my brother's cat, but it kept getting beat up because the outside cat. So I took it, and we became friends, and now it never leaves me alone.
Thank you, Beyond Comics, for coming on. He says thank you to you. I say thank you to you. You also just created several new Instagrams. So we have the Man Boys.
Oh, Seth did that.
I saw that, followed that. We have Batman Nightfire, brand new Instagram. Gonna follow that. And then also Clayman PI. Make sure to follow. Okay. Thank you so much, Clay, for coming on the stream. Next time, I'll bring Kyle. You can bring Seth, and we can all just have a grand old chat.
And you can come prepared.
I can come prepared with Batman Nightfire questions based on all the images I'm going to see. Thank you so much. This has been a dream for everyone watching. Thank you for joining the stream. My name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them, even though Clay will tell you I don't know anything about them. I will see you guys next time. What the heck?